Hello guys, welcome back to our channel, The Rick Files. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the ongoing NBA playoffs, which we're closely following. My dad, my mom, we're all sports fanatics, especially basketball. And I'm going to talk about the just concluded Game 5 between Brooklyn Nets versus Milwaukee Bucks. And Brooklyn happens to be my favorite team in the East because Brooklyn has a special place in my heart. I have lived there for a couple of years when I was still based in New York. In my first ever video, I did mention that in this channel, I'm going to talk about a few things. One is my passion of late, which is gardening, and the other one is the Pro Series, which talks about how to become an astute and outstanding individual and professional. And also my other passion, which is sports. I follow tennis very closely and also basketball. Everybody in the household loves basketball, and that's the reason why I'm going to talk about basketball, the NBA playoffs in this video. I think sports in general teaches us a lot of things, and we can learn a lot from watching sports. Not only that it's entertaining, but there's a lot of lessons to be learned from sports, and that's the reason why I'm doing this video today. Guys, before I share my thoughts about this exciting Game 5 between Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you enjoy watching this video until the very end, please give me some love, give me some thumbs up, and share. Thank you so much. So let's talk about this Game 5 between the Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks. So in the playoff, in the semifinals in the Eastern Conference, these two teams are slugging it out. The first two games were won by the Brooklyn Nets and the next two by Milwaukee Bucks. So going into Game 5, no one would really have thought that the Brooklyn Nets would win this game. Why? Because they have a handicap. Their star point guard, Kyrie Irving, was actually sidelined due to sprain injury. And one of their other star player, James Harden, is nursing a stiff hamstring. So in other words, we are left with only one player to defend the team and to carry the team to victory. And that is the legendary KD, or Kevin Durant. I'm sure all of you are familiar with this great Kevin Durant. He's one of my favorite players, an all-time great player. And true enough, in this game, the reason why they won this game is because of his heroics. It's a comeback win for them, and Kevin Durant has shattered a lot of records in the playoff with his performance, superhuman performance, if you will, in Game 5, scoring a high of 49 points with 17 rebounds and 10 assists. Whoa, that stats is just super impressive, guys. So here's the rundown, guys. You know, the first half was just dismal for Brooklyn Nets. They were like outplayed, outscored by the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Bucks actually led for as much as 17 points. And that continued to the third quarter, or towards the end of the third quarter. So there's really hardly any hope for Brooklyn Nets to pull it off. But lo and behold, the last, I would say, 15 minutes of the game, or towards the end of the third quarter, that's when they start gelling. I mean, Brooklyn Nets, they found their mojo, and they were actually starting to convert, and slowly but surely they started to actually outscore and outpace and outperform the Milwaukee Bucks. So when it was during the fourth quarter, they started to have a lead over the Milwaukee Bucks, and in the end it was just a stellar performance by the Brooklyn Nets, winning Game 5 in the score of 114 over 108. And the reason why I think this game is such one for the ages is because of the lot of lessons we could learn from it, and also the superhuman performance or heroics of the legendary Kevin Durant, or KD, because as I've mentioned, his stats is super impressive in this game. And believe you me guys, he was not relieved at all during the entire game. So the entire 48 minutes, and that's unheard of, and it's not ideal, especially during the playoffs. He played every second of that game 5, Kevin Durant. Unbelievable feat, guys. And I think it's just like, we start to appreciate how great these guys are, and we're so lucky to be witnessing great performance such as the one that's turned in by Kevin Durant. And I think it was summed up really nicely and handsomely by their coach, which is another favorite player of mine. He used to be an NBA star player also for the Utah Jazz. Um, Steve Nash, who happens to be the head coach of Brooklyn Nets. So when he was interviewed post game of Game 5, he summarized everything beautifully. And I'd like you to listen to what he has to say. And I'm going to enumerate the three things that I think we can learn from this game between Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks.
Preached to them all year, and they started to find it. They defended. Um, the last 15 minutes of the game or so, I'd say incredibly well, and started to find, a little more understanding offensively. Christian, like the New York Daily News. Coach, you guys are down 17. I'm wondering if you saw just maybe a shift in Kevin's demeanor or just a shift in his approach. Like what allowed him to go off from that point, and what allowed you guys? So, Christian, I don't know why you're muted right now. Okay, I couldn't hear the first part of the question, but I didn't necessarily see a different demeanor from Kevin. He was locked in from the start. It just we were trying to figure out how to play. With James back in the lineup, but him not feeling himself and trying to feel his way back into the game, and our guys trying to feel their way. And so it took us a period of time, I think, to find some freedom out there as a group. And you got to feel some freedom. I mean, I know it's the playoffs and it's pressure and the stakes are heightened and all that, but you got to enjoy it and you got to feel free and you got to play together. And I think it took us a while to get there, but I don't think Kevin's demeanor changed. We got there and we started to make some plays and find some space. And when he got to his spots, obviously he is what he is. He's one of the all-time greats. And so tonight it took a while before we could really get him some momentum, but he took it. Brian, this is a twofold deal. I'm wondering, A, what sort of emotional lift just having been back out there, leading on the court, what kind of lift that gave the team? And secondly, was there anything tactical that you guys were able to change late third, early fourth that allowed you to get over the hump, or was that just guys getting more confidence playing? It was a couple. They were doing more of the things we've been preaching, and it took a while to get there. But I think it was difficult for everyone just to feel out the new dynamic. Without Kai, with James not being, the James we know, but wanting to help his teammates and soldier through it. I think it took us a moment, longer than a moment, but it took us a while before we could kind of find our cohesion. So just another thing that's been thrown at us in the game tonight, and we were fortunate enough to have the toughness, I thought, to stick with it. We kept telling them to stick with it, and they found a little bit of cohesion at the right time, and we went on a roll. Vincent, sports. Hey, Steve, how did you feel like Kevin was reading the game early on? It felt like he was within the realm and playing the passing lanes, and then maybe just picked the perfect time to exert himself offensively, as far as like conserving his energy. Is that the way you saw it as well? I think that's some of it for sure. But I think we just weren't playing in a way that benefited any of us early. We couldn't find a rhythm together. We found it. Kevin was great start to finish. We just couldn't give him enough opportunities early. And then we kind of figured some things out. I think we kind of got more to where we've been most of the year. And but I just think, at first, I thought he was locked in, playing great, but we just weren't able to facilitate the opportunities that we were been preaching and working on. And in the end, there, but he got on the roll obviously at the right time. We felt a little bit more of an understanding together and gave him more of an opportunity to get on the roll, and that's where he took over.
There you have it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that little clip interview of Steve Nash, the head coach of Brooklyn Nets. So he did talk about three things in that interview. One of the things that actually stood out for me is when he mentioned that it took his team a little bit of time towards the end, pretty much of the third quarter, before they were able to pull things together and get their mojo back and get things going. So, in other words, they really hang in there. They kept on going, like no matter how difficult it was. And I think in sports, especially in team sports or even in individual sports, this is something that we could learn. In life, life will throw us so many things, just like, with this pandemic and a lot of things that's going on right now. But if we keep plugging away, if we keep on believing, if we keep on hanging in there, I think one day, or we will just wake up one day, things will be different. And that's exactly what happened to Brooklyn Nets in this game. They hang on and really kept plugging away until such time they found an opportunity and things were on their favor. And that's towards the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter. And when they were presented the opportunity, they seized it. And that's another lesson that we could learn from it, from this game or from sports. Great teams or great sports performances is a result of being very patient and being very tenacious, if you will, in terms of like finding an opportunity or a window of opportunity, even though how small, and seize that opportunity to be able to turn the tide to your favor. And that's exactly one of the lessons that we learned from this game. It's fantastic to see, guys. I was on the edge of my seat. Unbelievable. I never gave up on my favorite team. I kept on watching. I kept on praying even and keeping my fingers crossed that they would win this game, and they did. Unbelievable, guys. It was such a nail biter, but I'm so very happy and very impressed. Well, the other team is also very impressive, don't get me wrong, guys. And I think any great game is a result of two teams really giving all their best. And the star player of Milwaukee Bucks is this young chap, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's such a great player, guys. A great future ahead of him. And yes, he's the leading scorer of that team. But in this, going back to Brooklyn Nets, I think one of the reason why they hang in there and found the opportunity is because they kept believing. And even though James Harden is nursing a stiff hamstring, he kept on playing. Yes, he missed a lot of shots. He only scored 5 points for the entire game, but he played almost the entire time also as Kevin Durant. But he kept on going, and together with the other player, Jeff Green, between the three of them, Jeff Green, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, they carried their team to victory. It's unbelievable, guys. That's what I'm talking about. The second thing that we learned from this game, which is about cohesion. And cohesion is such an important attribute for a team to have to be able to win a game. And I think that's exactly what the Brooklyn Nets did in this game 5. So, led by Kevin Durant together with James Harden and Jeff Green, the other players also step up, and it's just an unbelievable performance. Just like, for example, for Jeff Green, this is his best performance yet. He scored 7 triples and he finished the game with 27 points, and that's really impressive. And also the other teams, when they saw that the other teams are really pulling their weight and really trying to win the game, they also step up. The rest of the team step up, and that's the reason why they won game 5. And cohesion is such an important lesson that we can learn from sports. And as a family, I think that's what we need to do, to be able to be cohesive and really all on the same page so that we can move forward. And also, a lot of times I have applied my learnings from sports, from playing or watching sports in my professional career, because I think A team can be a high performance team if they are very cohesive. Like it's super tight. You need to be like really all gelling together to be able to achieve your goal and to be able to be a high performance team. And the third lesson that I think we'll learn from this game 5 is all about freedom. When you are free or playing freely, you can turn in your best performance. Case in point, guys, when you watch athletics, particularly the short races like 100-meter dash or 200-meter dash, when you see the great sprinters, when they start to relax, it's like almost their body's automatic, and that's how they win the race. When your body starts to relax, and that's when everything is like you're like a well-oiled machine, like everything is just like working tremendously perfect. So I think that's what happened with Brooklyn Nets. I think towards the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, they started to see that their beliefs is actually coming into fruition, that they can still win it, and that's when they start to relax and they start to convert. And again, in life, I think that's very important. Yes, we can be tight. I understand that we're all humans, guys. We can be tight, we can be worried, and all of these things, but it will not help us at all. I think it's very important that we need to be able to relax and just enjoy the moment, not miss the opportunity that's presented to us, and just keep plugging away. So, the three things that I felt that we learned from this game 5 between the Brooklyn Nets and Milwaukee Bucks. First, no matter how hard things are or no matter how dire the situation is, just keep plugging away, because you know what? Who knows, the tide will change, and things will change and it will be in your favor. Second, there must be cohesion in a team sports or within a team or a professional team, like in any kind of work environment. Cohesion is super important to be able to achieve your overall goals and achieve it faster. Third is freedom. Being able to relax is such a wonderful thing. It's such a great thing to be able to turn in a great performance. So, guys, I'm getting carried away with this blog, but yes, I'm so happy today that my team won. Kudos also to the performance of Milwaukee Bucks and the other team in the Western Conference. The other team that I'm following very closely, they're already in the finals in that playoff, which is the Phoenix Suns. That's another favorite team of mine. I'm gonna share or do another blog on that team in the succeeding blogs. So in the meantime, please take care of yourself and each other. Bye for now.